Welcome. Welcome. Come on in. We're finding peace together. Now, it's the 73rd. Can you believe it? The 73rd live stream each and every morning where we find peace, feel the peace together. Uh, there's a difference between reading about the road and maybe looking at a map and actually traveling the road. I grew up in the Lutheran church, and I was a bit of a jackass in high school, and my mother made me go, but I often just sat in a classroom and read stuff. Um, Fast forward a couple of years, I was married and went to a class where Pastor Kraft was going to share up to the date uh, thoughts and approaches to practical Christianity. First class, I'm sitting there with my new wife, and he says something to the effect that you could know something without having experienced it. And I piped up and said, well, how will you know the rain unless you've been wet? And he came up with a bunch of stuff. And I again said, how will you know when the rain is dripping down your face? How will you know that unless you've been rained on? I thought I was pretty smart, and I didn't go back to any more of the classes. And then, several years later, I noticed I was doing the same thing on my journey. I was doing a lot of reading, but I wasn't doing a lot of experiencing in the now. Fast forward to just last week, working with a client. We're getting to know each other. She says, I'm an atheist. And before my training in the core transformation, I would have jumped to conclusions and thought that I knew what her inner landscape was about. Instead, I asked, well, tell me about that. And she said, my stepson, he took his own life. And then 6 months later, his father, my husband, just died a horrible death. I could have imagined what that felt like. I could imagine how she can come to terms or feel peace in this situation. I could judge her for her blaming some sort of God that she used to believe in for these negative experiences. But I'm feeling very fortunate now that every once in a while, instead of jumping to a conclusion, thinking that I know what other people are feeling, thinking, I pause and know that each of our inner landscapes is different, and that I can listen, reflect back, but there is no way that I can truly know what my client has experienced or how their approaches to dealing with past thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, how our parts deal with that. All I can do is be the peace and listen, and then ask questions that may shed light and offer new thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, new options that may allow the explorer, my client, to find peace in their world. So how do we make this practical? I suggest that the next time that you notice someone doing something crazy that makes no sense, I suggest that you just notice that and pause. Just notice that and pause. And know that this person, that this behavior, this thought, this feeling is rooted in an experience sometime in their living. And before judging it, being open to noticing how this thought, feeling, or behavior allows them to live life as best they can in each moment. One way that I know how to do this is to regularly notice the peace, what I like to call the simultaneous peace in these live streams. Just notice the peace that is in, around, and throughout all. And if this peace is where I am perceiving from, there's much less judgment. And so I invite you now to notice the peace that is in, around, and throughout all. Got nothing to do with time or space or judgment or anything else. Just notice this peace now. And as you encounter people and situations in your day, I invite you to be in this peace and allow it to illuminate and offer you more choices than what you might have thought possible. I do hope this serves you. And if so, please hit the like, subscribe, share it with a friend who might be judging a bit much and might have options open to them as they feel this peace today. And I will talk with you tomorrow.